Good evening, everyone. We are going to begin our meeting, and thank you for being here tonight. It is our regular City Council meeting of October 1st. Welcome to October of 2013. First, we'll begin our invocation, and then our Pledge of Allegiance. Our invocation, I will call forward Pastor Kelly Dupuy with Faith Community Church, and please rise. And after that, will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilmember Sotelo. Good evening. Thank you for being here.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you so much for the blessing of living and working in the city of West Covina. And God, we thank you, Lord, for how you're working in all of the churches and all the businesses and all the schools and all the neighborhoods, God. And tonight, Lord, we thank you for your presence here at the City Council meeting. Lord, we pray that you would bless our council members, God, that you would give them wisdom tonight, that you would work powerfully in each of their lives, Lord, and direct them, God, as they make decisions that affect each of us. So, Lord, we give you the praise and glory, and thank you, God, for what you're going to do here this evening. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Sanderson.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Herford.
Here.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Here.
Councilmember Sotelo.
Here.
Councilmember Sykes.
Here.
Thank you so much. And at this time, report out of closed session, Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. The record should reflect that this evening the City Council, the Community Development Commission, and the Parking Authority convened for a special meeting that was with the listing of several items for discussion. The record should further reflect that all 5 members were present in closed session, and the following is my report. Under conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, this is the CGM Development Incorporated versus City of West Covina matter. Special counsel appeared and presented the matter to the City Council. There was no final action taken. Direction was provided to special counsel, but inasmuch as there was no final action there to report, there is nothing further to be presented on that item this evening. Under conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, there were a number of cases as listed on the agenda involving the State of California versus the City of West Covina, the successor agency, the Community Development Commission, and the Parking Authority. And these related to condemnation matters to be brought by the State of California for remnant parcels and other property of the city and successor agency adjacent to the 10 freeway. City Council was provided a briefing by the City Attorney's Office on these matters. There was no final action taken. However, the Council did direct the City Attorney's Office to defend these matters on behalf of the City, and also further appointed Glenn Block to represent the successor agency to represent the City in defending these various matters involving the State of California. The successor agency. That is my report from closed session. It is appropriate to continue with the open portion of the meeting at this time.
Thank you so much for that. Our next item is any changes to the agenda. Mr. City Manager.
Actually, Madam Mayor, I'll address one item, if I may. Let me just, the item that's listed on your agenda this evening on the consent agenda, which is item number 6, the Public Finance Authority item. That item, we asked to have it removed from the consent agenda, and then just heard after you approve the consent agenda as a discussion item. But other than that, the agenda remains intact.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So that is the changes to the agenda. Councilmember Sykes.
Madam Mayor, I have an unusual request, and that I am hoping that we can agendize an item tonight. It's an item that I contact the city manager about on the 13th of September, and it has to do with the I wanted to bring forth the centenarian recognition program, and somehow we did not get our communications real clear on that, and my hope here is to facilitate the ability for folks who turn the age of 100 to get appreciation and recognition officially from the city that they have arrived at that plateau of 100. And it would also facilitate their ability to not only get recognition from the city, but from the state, and from, I know President Obama participates in that, because my grandmother was a recipient of the recognition for her arriving to the age of 100. I know that there is a Brown Act situation when you ask to agendize an item such as I'm bringing at this time, but I know that with the support of the majority of the council, we can bring this forth and get it on the agenda tonight. So I'm asking for the support of my fellow council members to recognize West Covina residents officially when they reach the age of 100. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, I know that there's a later part in our agenda for councilmember requests. Would that be appropriate to handle that at that time?
Well, I think what's being requested, I was informed by the city manager's office today about that there might be this request. The Brown Act does allow to add an item to the agenda under a subsequent need action. That would require the council with a 4/5 vote to add an item onto the agenda for action, and with the things that came up after the posting of the agenda, when there's an immediate need to take such action. If the council does take that, then it would fall under the council member's portion of the agenda, which is under council comments, actually council members' reports.
Okay. Would it be within my purview to ask that we do that after our presentations? I see a lot of families sitting out here with kids, and I want to get you guys taken care of first, if that would be amenable to Councilmember Sykes, that we can handle that at that time.
Fine by me, Mayor.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So, Mr. City Manager, would that, Mr. City Attorney, would we be all right to do that? Okay. I will continue with the meeting. Thank you all for being so patient. I'll come down, and we have our favorite part of our meeting, which is a presentation. I see a lot of kids here tonight with something that looks like that's around their neck, so it looks like they're coming down now. So we'll get started. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our meeting. Thank you all for coming. First, our presentation, I'm going to ask that our fire chief, we have a brief presentation because we have a proclamation for what's called National Fire Prevention Week, which is October 6th through October 12th. As you all know, it's getting where our trees are starting to fall, the leaves, and what all comes with it. So I'd like to ask you to give the residents a little bit of information about that as I present you with that proclamation. Thank you for coming.
Very good. Thank you very much. As some of you may or may not be aware, next week is Fire Prevention Week. And although we celebrate it for a week, we like to think our residents would think about fire prevention on a yearly basis. The topic this year is cooking fires, and it's an appropriate topic since cooking fires is the leading cause of home fires in America. In fact, 2/5 of all home fires are started by cooking fires. And when you think about it, these cooking fires that you have, you get splashed, and you can have a fire, but you can get splashed by oils, and that we get them as adults on our arms. We get them on the front of our clothing. But I want you to think about a kid's zone. If you look at all the kids around here, most of the kids tonight are about this tall. These kids, when they're up into the kids zone, the 3-foot area around your stove, they don't get it splashed on their arms. They don't get it splashed on their clothing. They get it splashed on their heads, and they get it splashed in their faces. So make sure that you have a 3-foot kids zone. So we would like you to think about that this year, and then as we end, have a home escape plan and make sure those fire detectors work. And I'd like to thank council for being advocates for safety in our community and also supporting our Fire Prevention Week. Thank you.
And you're welcome. And with that, and before I give you the proclamation, I'd also like to remind parents, I have a lot of children, and old and young. The older ones start to cook. Make sure to educate them on how to properly cook and turn off the flame. and those type of things. Also, I have my kids put the pots on the back burners, the farthest ones from the littler ones, turn your pot handles in, all those good things. Make sure that we educate our children so they're safe at cooking as well. So with that, our Fire Prevention Week, and I think that's very interesting about cooking fires. That's one of our biggest fires, so absolutely. So with that, Fire Prevention Week, October 6th through October 12th, and all year long. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All right, the moment you all been waiting for, right? We have our certificates of recognition. We have, I'm going to give that to you. We have several, looks like all-stars out here. Who's an all-star? Yeah, congratulations. Very good. Well, first I'm going to call forward. We have the Shetland 5 Red All-Stars. I'm going to call manager Ken Clavo. Are you here tonight? There he is. Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you, thank you. And I'm going to let you do the honors of calling the names of the kids and talking a little bit about your team and how you got to be such an all-star group and all those medals around your neck. Look at that. Are they heavy? Are they heavy boys? No, you're strong. All right. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. This is a great honor. The boys battled well all summer. They are an extraordinary group of gentlemen. They've persevered through a long season, a long summer. Our season starts in February at Walmarado, West Covina Pony Baseball, and it ends at 5 years old, and sometimes the end of July, almost August. So it's quite a long span of time and a lot of hot games. We played in Palmdale in 117 degrees. We played in Bakersfield. Luckily, Bakersfield was nice and 90 degrees, but the boys went undefeated in 5U competition this year, and they mercied all but 2 of the games they played. So they were quite phenomenal. I'm really, really, really proud of them. I'm lucky enough to just be able to kind of coach them and watch them play. They're just amazing. And I have 3 other great coaches, Coach Gabriel Mejia, Coach Javier Lugo, and Coach Jose Salazar. So they do all the work. So I guess we'll get started. Our first player, Carson Baker. Congratulations, Carson. Good job, buddy.
Shake my hand like that and take the certificate and go on right next to your coach. There you go.
All right, Carson. Next up, Christopher Buhack.
All right, good job. Congratulations.
Next up, Carson Bear Calvo.
All right, look at you. Congratulations.
What do you say? Very serious. Joseph Garcia. Diego Juarez.
And we're going to take a picture after.
Just stay here, guys. Sure.
Congratulations on a big win.
Noah Lopez. Good job, Diego. Van Lugo. Andrew Lulette. Good job, Andrew. Daniel Mejia. We call him the Mountain. Marciano Ramirez. Mark, come on, big Mark. Justin Sanchez. Connor Salazar. Isaiah Ruiz. And now we get to thank the people that really make it all happen. Team moms. First team mom, Veronica Mejia. Veronica, she's down there. Second team mom, Andy Salazar. Andy, she's taking pictures. And I have to thank this one because I'd be in big trouble if I didn't. Elise Calvo. Thank you, Elise. Thank you, dude. And our coaches, Juan Sanchez. Juan was in the clutch. Where's Juan? There's Juan. Jose Salazar. Gabriel Mejia,
Thank you.
and Javier Lugo. All right, Javier.
And this is you.
That would be me. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you guys so much. We're going to do a quick photo here, okay?
Adults in the back.
Coaches in the middle.
Marciano, come here, Mark.
You guys so much. Right here. Only there.
Mary, stay right there.
There you go. Don't cover your faces.
Hold it up like that. Two rows, okay. That's it. Mark, come here, please. Bear, come here. One knee. Take a knee. Take a knee.
No other time? It doesn't mean like...
All right. You want to go that way? Okay, Bear, go down to that end. Or, yeah, good. How's that? We need to scoot more that way?
We good?
We need to go more that way? Okay. Okay, everybody take a half step to your left.
Ready? Half step to the left.
You're going to slide over, Justin? Okay. Wait, scoot over right.
He says I'm done over here.
Bear, scoot over to your left. Great, scoot over. All right, guys.
Good?
There we go.
Hey, don't blink.
Everybody smile. Big smile. Hold the bottom of it. Hold the bottom, guys. There we go. Everybody look up.
Okay.
Okay,
Everybody
look.
look.
Hold it down a little bit, man. Hold it down. Daniel, look up. There it goes. Look up. Smile, smile.
All right, paparazzi.
Yeah, we have 2 banners, but I don't think you want that to happen. We have quite a few. We block everybody.
Thank you
Thank you very
again
much.
so much. Congratulations. So much fun.
These guys did all the work.
All right, guys.
Good job, boys.
Single file. Follow your coach.
Good job, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. That's fun. I do. I can tell. Now make sure you guys don't go anywhere. Stay up at the top because after we're done, we're going to have pizza. I'm sure you all smelled it. So, okay, we're going to hurry up for you. We got our next team. It looks like another All-Stars. Wow, and they look a little taller over there. I'm going to say the Mustang Red All-Stars manager, Javier Guinier. Please come forward. Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Covina for having this for the boys because I think it's a big honor for them to be recognized. It's, like you said, they're the future, and they can see this, and hopefully they can keep going in the direction that they're going. Second season, I mean, like the other manager said, we start in February, we end it in July. It's a long season for, I think, any division to put up with from the winter all the way to the summer. And I think the boys did a great job starting slow, and at the end, we battled all the way to the end. And we're proud of them. I know that our parents, they battled with them in the stands. I could hear them, so that makes it more of a pleasure to be managing all these boys and everything. Thank you. Okay, first one is Aaron. Hector. Isaiah. Bryant.
Hope he's here.
Yeah. Jared.
Congratulations.
Panama.
Congratulations. You're quick.
Chase,
Congratulations.
Victor, Alfonso, Chevy, Nick, Jordan, Luke.
Congratulations, you guys are getting faster.
And I think the hardest job, more than the manager, is the team moms, because without them, I know, like I said, it's your job. I just manage, but it's really hard to do everything that they do. Beatrice. And I know she had help on the backside. No certificate for you guys, but I do want to thank you very much for helping and stepping up when she needed it. And my staff was Oscar and Justin, that they weren't here.
And the man of the hour, the leader, Javier, thank you so much. Thank you. And now we're going to do a quick photo. All right. Thanks, Chris. Can you take me? There you go. Are we in? Are we in? Very good. See your reward? Okay. Don't blink.
Come on, hold him up.
You got the mother paparazzi here.
All right. Thank you. Next, we have more All-Stars, and they're even taller than the last ones. Looks like we have the Bronco 11 Red All-Star standing over there. And not only do I want to get a shout out to all the players and hardworking coaches, but you know what, as a mother, all moms, dads, getting them to practice back and forth, driving all like crazy people, we appreciate what you do for your boys because it's so important to be involved in their lives. And it's just so neat to see all these kids here, such wonderful kids. And so congratulations to you guys for participating in their lives. And it does mean a lot. And that's one of the reasons that I think it's just great standing here and seeing these kids and seeing the families here. So again, I can't thank you guys enough. So with that, I'd like to call forward the other person in these kids' lives that is going to be something you'll always remember when you get older, because my husband coached and I coached, and the kids come back and they remember those coaches. So I'm going to call forward Oscar Jacob. Please come forward. Thank you for all you do. And now the microphone is yours to introduce your guys.
Thank you. Actually, it's Jacobo. But you know what? First of all,
I'm blind. I apologize.
that's okay. It happens. Anyways, I want to thank all the parents on my team. You know, kids, make sure you thank your parents. All we do as coaches, all we do is just a lineup. That's all. That's all we do. They're the players. We don't do nothing more, and we just protect you guys. We go argue with the umpires, and that's about it. But other than that, you know what, parents, thank you so much. I know there was a little bit of turmoil, but that's what happens in good families. That happens a lot. So with that, also our kids, we went to zone, and we got to interact with Hawaii, Utah, Seattle. So it was a great experience for them and for the parents as well, I'm pretty sure. So with that, let's introduce our players. We got Cortez. We got Cruz. We got Jimenez. Alejandro, I'm sorry, Alejandro.
Alejandro.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your, is it the wrong?
But we got the other Jimenez right here, whereas both Jimenez right here. They're not related, as you could tell. They just got that brown skin. We got Mr. Lawson. We got Nala. We got Pittman. We got Mr. Q. This kid goes by A-Rod. I don't know why, but. And we got Romero holding our banner right there. And my team mom, who I promised, she told me if I take the team, and we made a promise to each other, she'll be the team mom. So Michelle Romero. Got A-Rod's dad, Coach Tony.
All right, Coach Tony. And the man of the hour, Oscar. All right. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Can we get her for a picture? All right. Yeah, thank you. Excuse me, madam? Come on down. And then you're going to do the next. Yeah, right. Go. Oh, that's a good idea. Look at that.
Ready to shift that way, just a little bit.
Let me see her get in there.
Come
Come on, team mom.
on, Team Mom.
Come on, team mom.
Team Mom. There you go. All right. Okay. Congratulations, you guys. Oh, wait, we got more. It's all about the pictures, you know? Thank you, guys. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And you want to just stay up here and we'll introduce. Okay, so we've got the Bronco 12 Reds All-Stars, right? Got it. Okay. All right, now we have Bronco 12, more All-Stars over there. We're going to introduce you and hand you certificates, and then guess what? Good thing you came because there's pizza upstairs. With that, here you go.
All right. They asked me to introduce these kids. I've coached these kids. I've grown up with them, and actually I've stayed down. They've grown up, so they're the ones that got taller, not me. But these kids are great. You know what? For them, I mean, that's all we need anyways to win. That's all we need. 4 good players right there. So you know what? Give it up for them. Unfortunately, some of them, they couldn't make it. Some of them are into travel ball and all. So that's what happens. You're busy. So we got Mr. Loera. And we got Maldonado. We got Mr. Johnson. Yes. And we got Ayala right here. And again, you know what? Thank your parents, you guys. Because I coach you guys, but like I said, all we do is the lineup. The parents are the ones that do all the work. They buy your Nikes or whatever you need. It's on them. So you make sure you thank them tonight. All right, you guys.
so much. And congratulations. All right, everyone, we're going to take a quick recess, and so help yourselves upstairs. Thank you again all for coming tonight. I really appreciate that. And then we'll continue with our regular meeting in just a few minutes, okay? All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, please take your seats. We're going to continue with our meeting. Our next item on our agenda tonight is our oral communications. We do have a 5-minute speaking limit. If you would like to speak and address the council on any issues, please fill out a yellow speaker card, which are at the top of the stairs, which I think a lot of you have figured out because I have them in my hands. So with that, I would like to call our first speaker, which is Vicky Shalega.
Thank you, and hello to all council members and audience, everyone. I'm here to talk about not a fundraiser, but a community event that we are at the Lions Club going to be sponsoring on October 19th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We estimate we're going to be having at least 400 to 600 patients. It's going to be an eye screening as well as a needle stick for glucose testing. Everything is free. If they see you need glasses, you get your glasses right there on the spot, and it's all free to the patients, especially the ones that maybe are in the homeless coalition or anything like that that come up. It's going to be at the West Covina United Methodist Church on Azusa and Cameron. I need volunteers, so we're asking all of the Lions clubs around the area. It's not just for West Covina. It includes Covina, Irwindale, Glendora, Diamond Bar. We have a West Covina Diamond Club in Diamond Bar. The Filipino Club. We're asking for volunteers to work 2-hour stints. All the doctors are being brought in by Friends in Sight, California Lions Friends in Sight. They bring all their equipment out. We set it up in one of the huge rooms at the church, and in the other chapels where they're going to be doing the needle sticks for glucose testing. We thought that would be beneficial this year to have that. So anyone in the audience that wants to come down for this, it's all free. There are doctors, and we are having one very important physician there. He has said he would work from 9 to 10 in the morning because his docket is open, and that is Senator Dr. Ed Hernandez. So he will be doing checks on patients also. We're looking for bottled water. If anybody can help us with a case of bottled water, I had 10 cases today donated by Fresh and Easy. So anything we can get, we'd appreciate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Kingsley Raha.
Yeah, I'm with him. We're together, yeah. I'll go first, we're together.
Okay.
I'll go first, then he'll come up.
All right.
Okay?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Bruce Leinbach.
Bruce Linebaugh, for here, for better or worse. I guess better. I guess I see you got a new football coach. Is that right? Yeah. I want to talk about, I'm an apartment owner. I want to tell you about back in 1989, I bought 2 fourplexes out in Upland. There were 2 fourplexes and 22 eightplexes, total 23 units, 184 units. And I want to talk you about rampant crime. That was rampant crime there. It just took off like crazy. There are 180-some units, and we were having 180 police calls per minute of people coming in there. Tenants were moving out because of the crime. It became almost like the Upland couldn't believe it. And it was just unbelievable about the crime. I remember I had a manager, apartment manager, and I asked him, he says, well, Bruce, I went to talk to the manager of the building next door. They only have 1 tenant. And I talked to him and said, you got a person there who's a coke dealer. And he says, yeah, but I only have 1 tenant, and he pays cash the first of the month. So I just want to tell you one thing about the 10th of December. I had them about 3 years, and they're driving me bananas. And I had one rent. So I said, what should I do? How can I do it? And so what I did was I decided I'd send a fax to the North Pole to ask if Santa Claus could come and visit. So what happens, lo and behold, he came down to visit. Will you pass these around, please? Yeah. Lo and behold, he showed up, and the tenants were happy. They paid the rent, so they were all happy campers. One thing I do like, I like them to be happy, but I also like it when they pay the rent. Now, also right now, since 1985, I bought 2 fourplexes down the Woodside Village by Amar and near Amar and Azusa. They're Covington fourplexes. They call them the Cadillac of the fourplexes. They all have one's a 3-bedroom, 3 of them are 2 bedrooms. They all have central air. They have 2 parking spots. All of them have garages for their cars, 3 one-car garages, 1 2-car cars. So then you got washer-dryer hookup, and you have central air. Now, there's not anything like this around, and it's the largest probably apartment complex in San Gabriel Valley, or one of them. And they're all individually owned. There's 117. They're all individually owned by individual people. I'd say 50% are managed by people. And then I would say that the rest of them have individual owners. We've had a problem since we've been there, maintaining the property as far as some of these owners, and I'd say probably 15% do not maintain their property. It makes the rest of them look and devalues their property. So what you did, you sent a correction notice out to all the managers, all the tenants, and so for violations, we are fixing them up. They're coming back, so it's good that we can comply with the city and make it look better, make our property better. Crime rate is the lowest it's been. Also, I got here the police reports. I'm going to pass them out. Here's one on burglary, four burglars. This is a 4-month period, 5-month period. And you see all these other ones: child beating 3, the auto theft report 6. Then they have domestic dispute 4, DUI. What I did, I went to the police department. They took these and they all marked them up. And the ones on the left are the serious ones. Ones on the right are not. But she marked them up. So would you pass these police reports around, please? Okay, so in number... Huh? Yeah, there's more of them. Also, so I feel that this moving... then you got to look at the term of what is it? I mean, how do you judge this? Well, I say one thing: cash talks. Like I say, the ones in Upland I had, they went from 550 down to 200,000, and 75% were foreclosed on. Just this 2 years in these units, they've had one for sell for a year ago 680, 690, and 745. This year they've had one sell for 865, 860. One was listed for 830, had 10 offers in 8 days. So I just want to say I feel that the properties are in good shape and everything like that. And it was wrong to say we're at fault for all the crime, but we want to project the image. Another thing I want to say before I get to the end, if you don't mind, take another 30 seconds. One thing that I'm concerned about this, I guess you have these Covina rental ordinance. And I'm concerned about how it's going to function. Number one.
Madam Mayor, speakers ceded their 5 minutes.
Yeah, I have another 30 seconds. Okay, I asked it. Okay, so
Okay, 30 seconds is up. Oh, go. Hurry.
They have a rental ordinance in Covina. I talked to one business. You have to be inspected by the city before you rent it. One businessman I talked to, it was taking 3 months to rent them out. How's this going to work on homes? We got about 10,000 homes in the city. They're all rented out. 10,000 homes for rent. And how are you going to monitor? How are they going to come out and inspect the property? How long is it going to take? Because 3 months, whenever I have to rent with the city vacant, I'm not getting money. That's part of my retirement. And I just want a better definition how this is going to work if it goes through. But leaving the thing vacant for 3 months until you have enough time to get a code enforcer inspect it, I think is wrong.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker, Kingsley.
Mayor and Councilman, my name is Kingsley Raja. I am the president of the association at Woodbridge Apartments. I've been, from the time that I joined and became a president, my main concern was to make sure that area is very, very well maintained. We increased security from 2 days to 5 days every night. Then we have, during summer, we have extra security taking care of the swimming pool area, whose a security guard is always present when children are swimming. We try to do our very, very best to help out the community so that there won't be any problems. Yes, there are, where the security is concerned, we spend somewhere from $5,000 to $7,000 a month just on security. And when it comes to where graffiti is concerned, there is no, we have never seen any graffiti where gang members write. That normally that we see is little children, not little children, children writing girls' names with a heart and put an arrow against and 2 names written. We keep removing it. That cost us over $2,000 a month. We see it in the morning, by afternoon it's gone, because we have somebody always driving around and looking for these things. So we are trying our level best. But sometimes I hear also about what Bruce just brought up. It's a very good thing in case you all want to go and check each and every apartment before it is rented. It's great. But how long will you all take to go and look at it? If you all go and take 3 months, or you all have one or two people to go and check 10,000 places, it's humanly impossible. Who's going to pay for it? If we are late with some kind of tax or something, we are hit with a 10% overnight. If we are late 1 day, we are hit with 10% whatever penalties. But if we have to suffer for 3 months, that will be a disaster for us. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Jefferson Duro.
Get my nerves settled down. Good evening. I just want to bring to your attention that the marquee at West Covina Cameron Park, it was plowed down over approximately a year ago, and right now all that remains is a 2 feet by 10 feet stump of cement, which is currently being used by the kids in the neighborhood as a skateboard platform. Not only is it dangerous, but I figure if it was a result of a car accident. I'm assuming that the city probably collected some funds as a result, and it should be replaced. And if it's not going to be replaced, then the stump should be removed. But as a resident that lives across the street, I like to see it replaced. It was a nice marquee, and we've spent money to have it put up once upon a time, so let's get it replaced. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Corey Warshaw.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. I just had a question in regards to SB 470, which is dealing with the issue of redevelopment. It's been put forward, passed by the Senate and amended, and I think it was supposed to go to the governor and get signed, but I don't know if it has been or not. I know that it was being supported by the California League of Cities, and I wanted to find out if the city was supporting it, and if so, have we sent anything to the governor? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And just to let everyone know, I'm going to let everybody speak, and then after everybody's had the opportunity to speak, then we'll briefly address any of the concerns that come forward. Our next speaker is Alvin T. Love.
Madam Mayor, council members, I'm here to inquire about the status of the project at 856 Sunset. Let me refresh your memory. In 2006, it was voted down by the Planning Commission. It was brought to the City Council and it was voted for. The residents of that cul-de-sac came here and we were told and complained so much that we was told the project was not going to go. I'm checking the records. In 2007, it was passed by the Planning Commission and the City Council. Now, my question is, what is the status? Because it's pending on the Planning Commission, and it's been pending since basically June of last year. That's my question.
Okay, we'll try and get an answer for you after everyone's had an opportunity to speak. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Herb Redholz.
Thank you very much, and good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Herb Redholz, and as a candidate for the city clerk office, I want to thank the powers that be for doing the right thing and listening to the residents and finding a way to do the live internet streaming of tomorrow night's candidate forum. I think it is important to cast the widest possible net to the voters. The turnout in recent elections has been embarrassingly low, unfortunately, and I think it is in the best interests of the candidates and the city and the residents as a whole to give the voters and the potential voters as much a chance to see and hear what the candidates have to say so they can make an informed decision when they do go to the polls. So again, thank you very much for doing that, and I urge everyone who's listening and watching on the internet now and anybody here in the audience to be here tomorrow night and be heard and see your candidates and make an informed decision on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Carolyn Arndt.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me up. He stole my thunder. I was going to talk about the League of Women Voters candidate forum for tomorrow night. That it is an excellent opportunity for our citizens to get a feel for the vision of our candidates. This is the first time they tell me that there have been no incumbents running. We have 2 appointees, but we have lots of new faces. So it's going to be a smashing good time. We had one already, so this is the second opportunity. And the one that we held on September the 20th was the first one that I had ever even attended. And it was great fun. The second thing that I want to talk about, and I'm glad that Mr. Glassman is here, because I would like to request that the appeal of the Hill be stopped, in as much as the council has put forward an ordinance to stop commercial development within our parkland around the city hall. I would like that appeal stopped. I think it's a waste of our taxpayer money, and we have way too many litigations going. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mr. John Shoemaker.
Thank you, and good evening. A couple questions that I have. One's related to the bonds that I spoke about last time. That was about $2.4 million that we're refinancing for 3.2. I'm just wondering, nobody got back to me on what they're going to do with that extra $500,000-$600,000 that's in there. I mean, last time I checked, you refinance something to get a lower interest rate, and then you expand the time. I just quickly put some addition to the payments, and it looks like we're going to end up paying about $1 million more if we're borrowing the whole 3.2. I don't know why we just didn't do it for 10 years and pay it off at a lower interest rate. It'd save us some money there. So what are we going to do with the extra money, and why do we need it? Why are we refinancing not only the gym, but the city maintenance yards along with it? You know, I'm a little confused. The other thing I'd like to know, and it'd probably be best, you know, maybe everybody on the city council, but especially Mr. McIntyre and Mr. Sotelo, is, in my experience in business, that when we bring a lawsuit, the city doesn't pay for the legal fees. They point to us and go, you pay them. But we seem to do just the opposite. No wonder we're business friendly. You know, somebody sues the developer over on San Bernardino Road, and we file the lawsuit. We pay for the lawsuit, meaning the taxpayers. You know, somebody files a lawsuit to stop the development, and we pay for the lawsuit, at least to the one at City Hall. Not only that, we get the privilege of defending the lawsuit the developer filed against the city for being misled. So I would hope that you guys can, you know, say that you think this is a smart way of doing business, or if we should maybe back off on some of these things and use the money for a few other things. The other question I have is, I've gotten up here and repeatedly asked, what are the legal fees we've spent on things? And I, as sure as clockwork, get a letter from the city attorney saying, oh, if we tell you how much we spent in the past, it's going to give away our strategy on what we're going to do in the future. We can't tell you what we did in the past because, oh, you know, everybody's going to know what we're going to do in the future. Then I go look at a ROPS report, and it says, this case we plan to spend this much, this case we plan to spend this much, this case we plan to spend this much. I don't know about you, but what I did in the past may be an indication of what I did in the future, but it's not 100% accurate. But to tell the state of California, I'm going to spend $600,000 on this case, $400,000 on this case, $100,000 on that, is pretty indicative of what you're going to do. So can I get what's been given in the past since you're already telling what's going in the future? I don't see what the difference is. You know, I hope I'm not sounding unreasonable on it. Maybe because you're on the council, somehow getting elected gives you, you know, a little bit more knowledge than I have. But, you know, if I tell you, you know, I spent X amount, you know, on a car, that's not indicative that the next car I buy is going to be more or less. So if we could get some of that, you know, if we could open up what we're doing and quit hiding what we're doing, it'd really be beneficial. You know, I hear crazy numbers. I hear people that, you know, we've spent $7, $8, $9, $10 million on different lawsuits, that we're never going to see that money. Why? What could we do with $7, $8, $9, $10 million if we hadn't wasted it? What could we be doing right now? New fire equipment, new police equipment, real police and fire equipment that they respond to. You know, like a fire truck and actually drive a car or other equipment. You know, heck, the kids at Orangewood have their soccer fields. You know, the $3 million that's been in the budget the last 4 or 5 years for Ridge Riders would be taken care of, along with a few other things. So hopefully you can answer those couple questions for me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Dave Stewart.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, staff, and my fellow residents. My first thing I'd like to talk about actually is the rental housing permit and the inspection program that came forward last meeting and staff is currently looking at. I'm involved a little bit in Covina with it too, and I have a little information here that I'd like to pass on to you and then tell you the reason I'm talking about it. Actually, the City of Covina approved this in November of 2012 at a 4-to-1 vote, but they've been looking at it for 3 or 4 years, from 2008. I think what they really started at originally was for multifamily, because I think it's Prospero Apartments, right, where apartments are that are really were a problem. But when they got it all said and done, they included multifamily, hotels, motels, boarding homes, also single-family residences that were not owner-occupied. Now, their focus was on the multifamily rentals standards at that time and the corporate-owned foreclosures, which were prevalent in both cities, now not so much, and also non-owner occupied single-family homes. And that's really my question right there. Why the non-family occupied homes? Because, and their report is that you pay $126 yearly for a rental if you're the landlord of it. They give you one annual exterior, I don't know what this even means, one annual exterior envelope and landscape inspection. If it looks okay, they tell you it's okay. Nothing happens the next year. You pay $126, you do it again. But if you have one of the better looking houses on the block, you're probably never going to get a problem with it. So why charge the people $126 when probably the guy next door who might be owner occupied, his house looks a lot worse, you don't touch it. So that's my problem. I know West Covina, we need help. I agree to that. I'm willing to do something to help, and I want to see West Covina, the blight and everything get better. But I don't see charging people $126, and I can give you a couple examples. I know one elderly couple that when they retired, they were limited income. They couldn't make it really, and they couldn't take care of the home. They rented it out, and they're living with their son. Now that's their income, some of their income off of that house. So why charge them $126? And another thing is, if the houses, a lot of them are owned by private individuals, but some are in a like a management company. And what's going to happen is the $126, the rent will go up next year at least $10 a month to cover that. They'll probably raise it 20 or 25 and blame it on the city. So I don't see why you just can't let them put the $125 back into their house if it needs it. And I just don't see a reason. The multifamilies may be a problem, and maybe we could do something there. But as far as single families, I know you haven't come forward with anything yet, so maybe you won't on the single families. But I mean, I'll tell you, I do have rentals in West Covina. I don't mind paying it, but I don't see the problem with it for everybody. I just don't see it that way. West Covina we need a lot of help. I know that. I think that West Covina, the town itself, is crying out for help as far as getting everything taken care of. We have a lot of blight. We have a lot of problems. I remember years ago, West Covina was called the City of Beautiful Homes, and we do still have a lot of beautiful homes. But you got to remember, back in the 80s, when that first came about, the beautiful homes are now South Hills were not there. Zeus Avenue stopped at Francisquito. From there on, it was orange groves. Citrus stopped at Hillside. There up in the hills was nothing but hills. All those homes up there, beautiful homes, but they were not there. But everything on the lower land here was still beautiful homes. That's not the case today. We still have a lot of nice homes. We have a lot of need help. We got to do something about it. We got to get residents involved, and we got to do something, whether it's clean up, paint up, fix up weeks, teach people how to put drought-resistant plants to save water. Anything we can do, get block people to go through and possibly help with their own streets. But anyway, the city's waiting for an answer, and we need to do something about it. So anything we can do, it would certainly be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Forrest Wilkins.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'd like to share with the citizens of West Covina who have never addressed the Council from this microphone what the procedure is. One desiring to speak fills out this yellow 5x8 card, which asks your name, address, etc., and what is the subject you would like to address. The last several times that I have addressed the Council, I have listed the subject as PR, meaning public relations. Tonight, I listed PR as a subject. Going back to February 5th of this year, Councilman Herford directed a very inappropriate question to Councilman Sykes. There was a gasp in the audience by about 20 people who were in shock. The mayor immediately took a 5-minute recess because she was losing control of that council meeting, which was a good administrative move. When the council meeting reopened, the mayor, Councilman Sotelo, and even Councilman Herford did not make any statement as to the inappropriateness of Councilman Herford's question. And Councilman McIntyre, who became a council member that night, remained silent about the inappropriate question. Some 3 council meetings later, Councilman Herford made a statement to the council at large, but nothing to the citizens of West Covina or to Councilman Sykes about his inappropriate question. That's not good PR. Then there is the Athens contract. Athens made a 5-day offer to the city for a 25-year contract. They said, take it or leave it within 5 days. That should have been a red flag. The city staff even reported that there could probably be a better contract, but the majority of the city council voted for it. Redondo Beach pays about $13 a month for their trash. West Covina pays twice as much. Athens services both cities. Of course, Mayor Sanderson reported on her previous 460 forms of receiving about $13,000 from Athens, and Councilman Herford had reported receiving about $8,000. That's bad PR. Example of good PR and possibly some revenue producing is looking at the possible development of Maverick Field. I am requesting an audit of those who use Maverick Field and the Ridge Riders horse facility. I have limited information that the majority of the people who do use this facility are not West Covina residents. If that is the case, then the location on Citrus Avenue across from Cortez Park is being underused by the citizens of West Covina. I'm sure Councilman McIntyre could give a short statement of the possibility of revenue of some upper scale condos on that land. I'm talking about nice condos that would range somewhere between $600,000 to $800,000. A project like that could generate a little revenue. I'm not talking about the development like the one on the northwest corner of Orange and Badillo. That's a perfect example of bad planning. And I encourage citizens to drive by that location and look to see where those residents have to park. And even if that turns out to be not a good deal, that would generate some good PR for the city council. So I'm requesting an audit of Maverick Ridge Riders Field for possible development. Do I need to put that in writing? Ridge Riders, I'm told, was a good thing about 50, 60, 70 years ago. Most of those horse people are gone. Now it might be a time to make some changes. Do I need to put that request in writing, or is this verbalization enough?
I'll refer the question to the city attorney.
Well, Madam Mayor, the member of the public can make any request. It doesn't get agendized unless it works its way through staff. So the record will note that the member of the public has made that request.
Okay.
So do I need to make a, so then I'll get an answer to it? City manager? Okay. I have any estimate time? You know, a day or two?
Well,
2 or 3 weeks?
You know, Madam Mayor, the chair, the comments have to be directed to the chair, but we will get back to the speaker with a response. How do you wish to us? Your name and address is on the card.
Yes.
So we will follow up accordingly.
I followed directions on the card.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next speaker is Shirley Buchanan.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. My presentation is on litigation issues in West Covina and what it may be costing the taxpayers millions and millions of dollars. When all of the litigation is settled, it could well cost the citizens billions. What makes it more alarming is that this council keeps putting the citizens in harm's way. We expect you to keep us out of litigation. Who comes out ahead financially anytime you go to court? The attorneys. And the city attorney of West Covina is no exception. I was going to list all 5 of the make a presentation on all 5 of the litigations that the city of West Covina is now involved in. But I think I'm going to just focus tonight on the San Bernardino Avenue condo project. The city received a letter on August 19th from the firm of Liebel, McClendon, and Mann on the commencement of action related to the 135-unit condominium project on West San Bernardino Road. The litigation involves a challenge, among other things, of the mitigated negative declaration prepared for the project by the developer, prepared by the developer, and it alleges that the city and its city council violation of CEQA, the planning and zoning laws, and other laws and regulations. Why would this council put the citizens of West Covina in the position of paying the developer's legal fees? And that's going to happen not directly, but probably secondary. In the end, West Covina taxpayers will get the bill. This litigation could have been avoided by the council sending the project back to the developer for an EIR report. What was the rush? Why did the Planning Commission and you, the City Council, approve the project when the city had already been in litigation on the Hill for not following almost the same violations that are being addressed in this lawsuit? These are questions that deserve answers. We currently advertise that West Covina is the business-friendly city. Many more litigations, and we may be given a new award for being the top litigation city. The citizens of West Covina need a change in the makeup of this council so that the citizens can feel that they're being taken better care of. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Shirley Leon.
Hello, Councilman. Hello, West Covina. I'm Shirley Leon. I wanted to say last time I couldn't come because I had health issues and I was awful sad that I couldn't come. I do enjoy coming. Since then, I like to tell you our streets are better. We got street signs. The speed limit has been changed to a different location on Fitme. People are looking, but also they got lead feet. Unfortunately, yesterday at 3:55, we had a Chevron gas tanker coming in our neighborhood right off Nogales. He was making a U-turn because he didn't want to go, straight, So that was our problem. I also want to thank Mr. Yahtzee for all of his help, and Mr. Frederick too. Our concerns are still we need police protection down there. I have seen policemen different times of the day, which I feel very good about. Also, I'd like to know, I bring up a subject, since I've been talking about policemen and all, somebody called from West Covina, and they said, Shirley and Frank. And I go, yes, this is us. We are from West Covina. We need $60 from each residence to get a new police people. I told them we couldn't have $60. Then I looked on the property taxes. We already paid for the policemen. I asked my neighbors, a few of them, had they had the same phone call? And they said, no, we had not. I'd like to know, is this the proper procedure? Because it makes me very uncomfortable. And I'd like to know, could y'all possibly look into that? I sure appreciate it.
Surely that's a scam. I think it was in the Tribune today that somebody's doing that. So just so everybody knows, yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, if you get a call from anybody asking for money from the police department, that's not our police department. Okay?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Because he had a lot of information about me, and nobody knows that, you know what I mean? And it was scary. But I appreciate your input about that, Steve. But thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is George Ogden.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, staff, and public. My name is George Ogden. I'm the commander for the Veterans of Foreign Wars here in West Covina. I wanted to bring you up to date a little bit on the memorial project that we have in place that we're working on, and which we're trying to secure enough money to go ahead and build this. It had been rumored a little bit that the problem that we have is that it's stalled a little bit. It's mainly because of the financing. We don't have enough financing to actually start the project. However, we do have more than half of the money that's needed for it, and we are still continuing on with this project. In fact, the last 4 donations that we had came from the Women's Club of West Covina. And we also had some from Athens Disposal. We had from the Rotary. It also made a donation to us, which was greatly appreciated, and the Tenant Foundation as well. Those are the last 4 recent donations that we had. But it's still up and alive. It's still going. The city's still on board with us. And at this time, we're not having any meetings with the city until we have something a little bit more positive to move forward on because of utilizing the staff and stuff at this time here, when we really don't have anything to put out on the table, is probably not what is really needed at this time. But when we do have something, the city will come on board with us, I'm sure. We will have another meeting. We'll probably update it at that time. So we're still out there. We're still soliciting for businesses and also for residents that would like to help out in having this to go forward. Since that we are, I did that word, I'm going to hate that. Since we are a little bit more than halfway, it's still positive in our view. We're also taking a look at, we are still meeting on ourselves without the city, that maybe possibly to restructure this memorial so as it won't be as expensive and to get it on board a little bit quicker. It's been delayed a little bit over 2 years, and Steve and Rob Sotelo has been on board, as well as the rest of the council, certainly you, Mayor Sanderson, and I know you've been talking with us in the past a little bit, and certainly Councilman Sykes has been on board. So I want to thank the council and the staff. Chris Freeland has been on board with us with this, as well as Shannon Yahtzee, so a special thanks to them as well. So thank you very much. We're still alive, we're still kicking, we're going to make it happen. All right, thank you.
That's great to hear. Our next speaker is Irene Fleck.
Good evening. Just a couple of brief things. Everything is going very energetically over at the library, but we have 2 things that I want you to know about. Our semi-annual book sale starts on Thursday, October 31st. That's only for members of the Friends of the Library, but then it continues on Saturday, November 2nd from 10 to 4. And as usual for our big book sales, we've got some really, really interesting books this year. And the second thing I wanted to mention is so many people are publishing now and writing their memoirs and other things. So the library, this is new for us. We're having a workshop on Saturday, October 12th for self-publishing and marketing. So any of you that want to self-publish, come on over. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is, it looks like Michael Rivera.
This is on the traffic. This is on traffic committee. You already changed it? Is that before?
Yes, this is the time to speak.
All right. I was told, I read this is Connie Maddox, West Covina resident. She asked for no sweeping on Abington Avenue, South Abington. Well, I wonder how you got these 5 people, because you said they got 5 people to sign a petition. There's 8 houses. And they said they got 5 people to sign the petition to get street sweeping signs put up. I got 18 people, and 10 people, and they don't want it. So I don't know how you got 5, and I'd like to know who they are. Who's this Connie Maddox? Because she doesn't live on Abington. They said you got 5 people on Abington that signed the petition. There's only 3 people that signed the petition. And they say you had 5. That'd be a majority. There's 8 houses on Abington. Well, there's actually 7 houses, and one of them's on Cameron and Abington. The driveway goes in from Abington for that house. So that'd be the 8 houses. Okay. And the 8 houses, I've got 5.
Okay, I'm going to refer this to staff. I don't know if we can pull the item before we get answers, or if you might have those answers.
Well, first of all, these are just for the minutes of the traffic committee, and so it's just really stating what occurred at that time. I can have Shannon Yossi call him and give him the information.
Yeah,
Okay.
what I want to know is, who's Connie Maddox?
I can have Shannon, my Public Works Director, if we have your information, I'd be more than happy to have him contact you and give you all the information that we have that we're privy to and allowed to provide.
All right, I'd like to
Okay.
have that hold and stop until we change it.
It's up to council's purview if they like to pull this, but it's just, again, I'm sorry for that.
Okay.
It's really just stating what already occurred with the, it's just the minutes.
It's just
of
the
what
minutes.
occurred.
It's something that's taken place,
But
however,
it seems like you're gonna approve it today.
the minutes. Maybe we need to be more clear. Councilmember Sykes.
I think a proper response would be to totally stop until we ascertain who the majority is, those for or those against.
Right, well, that's exactly what I think.
It says on there, and their phone number?
Right, absolutely, we need to resolve that. However, these are the approval of the minutes.
Correct, and staff, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, go ahead. Normally I don't like to do the back and forth dialogue because I know we have an agenda and want to be fair to all the speakers. How would you recommend that we resolve this at this time, Mr. City Manager?
First of all, this is just reporting on people that responded at that point in time, and I don't know if this gentleman provided that information. I will have staff look at that, if you can provide that to me, if you don't mind, and we can further look
Okay.
into it and respond back to you.
All right.
I'll give you that one.
Okay. So by holding this over, we just wouldn't be approving those minutes, and we can't, Mr. City Attorney?
Yeah, and that's fine. You can hold the minutes over. And
Okay, why don't we just do that, just for good measure? Okay. All right, so we're going to hold the meeting minutes over for, if the council's pleasure is to do that. We'll take a vote on that when that time comes, okay? All right, that does conclude our oral communications. However, I'll take this opportunity to address some of the speakers. Thank you very much. We'll resolve that. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. So I'm going to go down. I have several responses. Sometimes it's difficult for us to, if it's not a non-agendized item, we don't have the documents here to refer exactly to the questions that have come up to this dais. So we will do our very best. The rental ordinance is on the agenda for discussion, so we'll kind of skip through that. Now, there was the marquee at Cameron Park that was brought up. Now, I think that was hit in July, and I know residents have talked to the city manager in reference to that. That was about, a couple months ago, three and a half months ago. So maybe you could briefly elaborate and because I did hear that is in the works to being repaired. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, it should be replaced to 1 to 2 weeks.
1 to 2 weeks. Okay, so that handles that question over there. Then we also have, I know we don't have the documentation on this, but on 856 Sunset, there was a question asked on the status. Does staff have any information to briefly respond to that resident and possibly get back with them on that?
We will have to do some research and get back to that gentleman.
Okay, so you do have his information. That is Mr. Love. Okay. Okay, then I'll go down the list here. The request for appeal to be stopped. Mr. City Attorney, can you briefly respond to that?
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council. On that appeal matter, it is present before the court. There's really not much action taking place on that. That is a council policy decision, and actually their special counsel that is reviewing that matter supports the council's action in as much as there's a strong belief that the ruling by the lower court judge was in error as related to the law.
Okay. Then next I have on my list is in reference to the bonds. I don't know if staff has a response to that question from a resident.
We do, but if you like, we can also address that at the time that it's being considered.
The item comes forward. Okay, perfect.
And if I may too, if you give me an opportunity, I can also respond more on the rental housing program.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely need a response on that when we pull that.
Well, I just want to point out to everyone here is that we are going to go back and seek input from the community.
Right.
And it's very important to get this type of feedback to outweigh the pros and cons in order to bring back an ordinance, if necessary, that everyone agrees on, and if not, then we'll have to consider alternatives.
Okay, fantastic. And then there was on asking about legal fees spent on things. Mr. City Attorney, you have a response.
Well, let me attempt to address kind of a global issue. The city, as a general rule, does not instigate or start lawsuits. They have to react and respond to litigation, such as in the lawsuit with respect to the property adjacent to City Hall, also with respect to the lawsuit filed recently by the Coalition for Land Use Equity. With the exception of the Al Hassan matter, which the city did institute litigation against Mr. Al Hassan and his various agencies because of his breach of contract. The city, several years back, litigated that matter, did receive an attorney's fees award from Judge Oki, who presided over that matter. There is a substantial $1 million award against Mr. Al Hassan for damages to the city and including attorney's fees. That's been a matter of public record. No one's trying to hide or sweep that under the mat. It's been available for request, and we've informed the public previously on the amount of attorney's fees that Mr. Al Hassan owes the city on that litigation. And what does he do? He responds by filing bankruptcy. And so instead of paying the taxpayers of West Covina the money that they are owed, Mr. Al Hassan attempts to, and is still attempting to, absolve himself from that obligation by filing bankruptcy. And that matter is still pending in bankruptcy court and currently going to be going up on appeal. It should also be noted that the fees incurred in the Al Hassan matter were prior redevelopment agency fees. Those monies under state law cannot be used for police, fire, road repair, things like that. So the belief that any cost or litigation costs that went towards attempting to recover the monies owed by Mr. Al Hassan to the previous redevelopment agency could be used for general fund purposes is just not correct. I want to talk a little bit, if I may, about the Coalition for Land Use Equity matter. The city of West Covina is not paying for the attorney's fees to defend that case. WC Homes, as the real party in interest, has the obligation to defend the action of the city, the decision of the city, and they will be doing so. In fact, it was they have not yet been served, but the city is not having to defend that action, and the belief that the city is going to be paying for the developer's attorney's fees costs is just not correct. It is part of the resolution that was adopted by the city council in approving that project, and the merits of that have to rest with the defense by the developer, not by the city. I think that kind of gives a global response of, and again, I do want to note, the city doesn't go out trying to entice parties to sue the city. There are parties who decide to sue the city, and as opposed to rolling over and not defending the city council's action, defense is taken in those kind of situations.
Thank you so much for that report. And I get down to the bottom of our speakers. The last item I'd like to address is a speaker came up and was requesting an audit of 2 of our parks in our community. So with that, if that is the case, I wonder why the other parks in the community are not being audited. Because Cortez Park, Shadow Oak Park, Big League Dreams, and Cameron are all used by a majority of the community and probably some people on the outside of the community. And the reason I want to say and talk about that briefly is you have to love children to understand what parks are all about. And to see people walking through Maverick Field with their dogs or riding their bikes and letting their kids see the animals. There's goats down there, and chickens and horses, and it's a pretty neat little environment. And you've got the baseball group that play, and it's really a nice thing for all the kids. And kids, guess what they get to do out there? They get to play in the dirt. And if somebody wants to take that away, I think there's somebody that doesn't really like children, because that's pretty sad. So I hope that whatever does happen there, that we make sure we think about the use as a whole, as our community, and to preserve open space. We don't have much of it left. We have a lot of blighted centers that we need to develop those first. You know, you're looking to take a piece of parkland and put things on it, and it just doesn't make much sense. So I just had to cover that real quickly. And I do think that we have the city attorney waving his hand.
And I
Might
just want to
have
note,
a response.
if I may, Madam Mayor, members of the council, with respect to the use of the parks, to evaluate, the use of the parks are open to everyone in the public. You cannot put restrictions on who uses them. You can, and West Covina does, give a better price break to residents versus non-residents, which the law does allow for specific uses within the park. But to say that the park is being used by this individual from this community or from West Covina, that would violate the law by attempting to restrict public access for all. That would be no different than restricting access based on race, religion, ethnicity, or any of the other protected areas. So.
Right. And with that, I think, sometimes I know there's big baseball games out there, big tournaments, and maybe if some of those people aren't from the community, they buy gas here, they buy food here. It makes up our community. It makes it wonderful. I know they hold big horse shows there, and all the kids, the people buy gas on their way out or whatever. And, it's just, it's a neat thing to see. And I just, think it's unfortunate that some people don't see it that way. So I appreciate that. And with that, I see a hand up over there. Councilmember Sykes.
Madam Mayor, I don't think the resident asked for us to eliminate or restrict. I think the person simply said audit. Can we audit the use of the park? And that's the question still at hand. Can it be audited? If you have people that pay, we have information that we can possibly do an audit from. And that's simply what he's asking. The resident's asking, can we do an audit? We would like to have an audit done.
Madam Mayor,
I would
members of the
again
council.
direct the city attorney, because if you're going to audit two parks, it's not number one, it's not on the agenda, so we got to move on quickly onto our agendized item. But then why don't you audit other parks?
From a legal concern, and first of all, the term audit, I'm not quite sure what that means in the context of a park. I know what it means when you have books to audit, but if that means surveying individuals who use that park or questioning individuals who use that park, first of all, anyone who uses the park would not be obligated to respond. The second concern, I would hope it wouldn't have a chilling effect on individuals thinking, oh, if I need to be asked a question to be able to use the park, and I'm wanting to make sure that the council is aware that while I respect the request for some type of survey, I just get very concerned that we are somehow putting impositions or limitations on how the parks are used.
City Manager?
And not to belabor the issue, I think the gentleman spoke about the reuse of that for more of another economic benefit. But I do believe that both parks do have restrictions with respect to the deeds and agreements in place that would prohibit us from using it for other uses currently.
Okay, fantastic. I appreciate that. We're going to move on with our meeting. Thank you all for being so patient with us. We had a lot of people speak tonight, and we appreciate them coming forward. With that, we have our consent calendar. Their motion is in order unless it looks like item number 6, Mr. City Manager, that we were going to pull.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve with the item 4 and item 6 pulled from the agenda.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. So item, 4 we're going to hold.
Right,
That had
yes.
all right, absolutely, thank you. And then item 6 was removed. So with that, I have a motion and a second. All in favor of the consent calendar?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have our public hearing. Give me a moment while I clear my desk. Thank you all for coming. And get organized for that.
And Madam Mayor, at this time would be, well, before we go into public hearings, item number 6 needs to be addressed at this time, which is not a public hearing, but it is a non-consent agenda.
Okay, I thought we were removing it from the agenda. You're just wanting it for a separate discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, got it. I apologize. All right, item number 6, Mr. City Manager, who will give if we're going to have a staff report.
Nita McKay will provide a brief
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Item number 6 before you this evening is the approval of resolutions authorizing the issuance of variable rate demand lease revenue refunding bonds, Series 2013A. The City of West Covina issued $3.6 million in lease revenue bonds on February 19, 2003 to provide financing for the construction of the city's community center. The current bonds will mature on August 1, 2023. at a current rate of just over 5%. The total principal amount outstanding at this point in time is $2.5 million. City management, as you know, is continually researching and searching for areas where we can have cost savings and cash flow enhancements, whereby the city can provide an increased level of essential services to the city's residents and businesses. On August 6, 2013, City Council adopted a resolution authorizing city staff and consultants to prepare the necessary documentation for issuance of not to exceed $3.2 million in tax-exempt bonds to refinance this outstanding debt. I might draw attention to this at this point in time that we are not going to issue $3.2 million in debt. We place it as higher as a not to exceed amount because the cost of issuance is rolled into the new refunded bonds, and we don't want to come in $1 more than the actual amount, or we would have to come back to City Council again and ask for permission to exceed that amount by another $1. So we put it higher so that we don't know the exact cost of that. At this point in time, I believe we are estimating that it may come in at less than $2.5 million in refunding with the costs. So due to the lower interest rates that we can take advantage of right now to capitalize on the variable rate structure, the city can take advantage of this because we are estimating right now that the proposed bond issuance will be at 1.3%. We are also placing a cap on this that it cannot exceed 4%, which is currently less than what we're paying at 5.07%. The current debt service payment is $286,270, and we're anticipating that for the next 10 years we will be paying $102,126,000. It was also mentioned in oral communications that the assets securing the bonds will be the community center and the city yard, both of which have physical lives well in excess of the 30 years life of the extension on the bonds. It is estimated that by taking advantage of this low financing rate, the city will realize an annual savings in debt service of approximately $180,000 for the next 10 years. That concludes my presentation. I would be happy to answer any questions. Our consultant and our bond counsel are also available in the audience.
Thank you very much for that report. Do I have any questions of staff?
Madam Mayor, I don't have a question, but I would like to make a comment on this. We basically have a 5% interest rate, and we're going to drop it to 1% with a cap of 4%, so it's somewhat of a, I think, a sound fiscal decision to make. But just as we had oral communications here, everybody has an opinion in this city, and they're welcome to come up here and voice their opinion. I can remember when we built the gymnasium, and a lot of the maybe same people came up and criticized the decision to build the gymnasium. It was actually brought to the council, approved, and then construction was stopped because Councilmember Hernandez at the time didn't want to go forward. We started again. We ended up losing about $500,000 in construction costs, but look how many people have gone through the community center. Look what a great asset it is to our community. And here's an opportunity for us to save another $180,000. That's 2 police officers. I think the city staff, by bringing this forward, has given us some cost savings. And that's really what West Covina is about. We have a facility that's used by a lot of people. It's a great facility, and we're able to finance it and to make sure it's something that we are able to afford, and this opportunity even makes it better.
Thank you. Councilmember McIntyre.
I heard a beautiful thing, which is a cost savings, and I heard it to the tune of possibly $180,000. Is there a way to possibly look at earmarking that savings when it does go through towards the hiring of another police officer? If I understand, a police officer is about $150,000. That should.
Yes, Councilmember McIntyre, we would have approximately $180,000 annually in cost savings. The monies used to pay this debt service is general fund money, so it's unrestricted. So the use could be appropriated for any unrestricted use of the city, including police officers.
I would, my opinion, I would love to see that happen if it's possible.
Councilmember Sotelo.
I'd like to have staff look at it, see if we can get 2 police officers. I mean, we're going to, we're getting some extra money. Just look, what we can do. We get $180,000, and if we can look at it and bring a report back to us, we're starting to get revenue, starting to get money back, and maybe we get 2 police officers after this. If they can bring that report back, please.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Do you need a motion for, I mean, how would?
That part is not on your agenda
It's
tonight.
on the agenda.
so
We can bring it
We'd
back.
have to first approve the bond issuance, and
Right.
then as savings comes in, you could bring that back.
So a motion is in order for item number 6 on our agenda tonight.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Madam Mayor, if we could have two separate motions. The first resolution is a City Council resolution. The second is a Public Financing Authority resolution.
Okay, so our first motion would be for the City Council to adopt the resolution. Would that suffice the last? Okay. And then I'm going to ask for a second motion for the West Covina Public Financing Authority. Motion is in order.
I move.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second for the adoption from the West Covina Public Financing Authority. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda, and I'm sorry, okay, so we're out of the consent, and we have our public hearing items. Thank you all for being so patient. This is our public hearing item number 8, General Plan Amendment number 1303, Code Amendment number 1306, Housing Element Update 2014-2021. At this matter is set for public hearing. It consists of the review of General Plan Amendment to the Public Housing Element and a Code Amendment to modify the density bonus standards of low and moderate income senior citizen housing to be in compliance with our state laws. Will City Clerk please verify that proper legal notice has been given?
Yes, that's verified.
Thank you so much. And at this time, I shall open our public hearing for the Housing Element Update, which requires the approval for the General Plan Amendment 1303 and the Code Amendment 1306. There first shall be the presentation from a staff report, and then we shall hear from those in favor of the proposal and then of those opposed. Mr. City Manager, who will present the staff report?
Mr. Anderson will present the staff report.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The hearing tonight is to review the proposed 2014 through 2021 update to the housing element of the general plan. The housing element includes goals and policies that necessitate additional entitlements that are also scheduled for review tonight. The applications to be reviewed tonight include a General Plan Amendment 1303 for the housing element update and Code Amendment 1306 for amendments to the municipal code for density bonus standards for low and moderate income and senior citizen housing. This time I'd like to introduce our housing consultant, Sarah Walker from Environmental Science Associates, who will provide a report on the housing element update and process. And following her presentation, I'll provide a report on the proposed code amendment.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Sarah Walker. I'm with the firm ESA, and tonight my colleague Arlene Granadosin is also here with us. I'm here tonight to present for your consideration the 2014 to 2021 housing element for final adoption. The housing element is an update to the 2008-2014 housing element, which was recently adopted in November of 2012. Since the previous housing element was so recently completed, this update was a streamlined update and only minor changes were made to the document. So tonight I'll review the importance of the housing element update process, the contents and what has changed since the previous document was approved, and I'll also review specific sections such as the housing plan and the housing resources. So starting generally, every jurisdiction in California is required to have a general plan, which serves as their blueprint for guiding physical development and setting city policies. The housing element is one of 7 state-mandated elements of the general plan, and it is the only one that requires review and certification by a state agency, which is the State Department of Housing and Community Development, or HCD. With the passage of SB 375, housing elements are now updated every 8 years, which is consistent with the Regional Transportation Plan and Sustainable Community Strategy, which was prepared for the Southern California region. So this is the 5th planning cycle for SCAG, and it covers the years 2014 to 2021. So a housing element, the state recognizes that the role of a city is not to build housing, but to create opportunities in their land use plan to facilitate the development through their policies. Housing element adoption and certification is important for a number of reasons. Consequences to an uncertified housing element include the ineligibility for housing grants, also future transportation and infrastructure funding, It leaves the city susceptible to lawsuits and challenges to their general plan. And it also means that the city may have to address 2 planning cycles instead of 1 as the units carry forward if your housing element is not certified. And finally, if the 2014 element is not certified by October 2015, the city is now required to update their element every 4 years instead of 8. So there is incentive to get it certified so that you have to update it less frequently. So as we write the housing element, we divide it into 7 sections. The introduction provides a document overview. The housing plan provides goals, policies, and programs to facilitate housing opportunities. The quantitative objective section is a projection of how many units might realistically be constructed or assisted through programs. The housing profile provides information on population, employment trends, housing stock characteristics, as well as an assessment of housing needs for special needs residents. The constraints analysis includes an analysis of governmental as well as non-governmental constraints. The housing resources section includes a detailed sites inventory that housing could potentially be developed on, and finally a progress report evaluating the city's implementation of the previous housing element. So given that the last housing element for 2008 to 2014 was so recently adopted in 2012, the update has been streamlined and it was already pre-certified by the State Department of Housing and Community Development. So to complete this update, we've redlined the document and we focused on providing a progress report on accomplishments, updating the community profile with 2010 census data. We reviewed the constraints and reported any changes, as well as the sites inventory to determine if any sites have been developed. And finally, we prepared a new housing plan based on the information reported in the other sections. So for the 2014 to 2021 housing element, there are 5 goals that were established, and these goals are actually carried over from the previous housing element. So the first goal is to maintain and enhance the quality of existing housing in residential neighborhoods in West Covina. The second goal is to provide a variety of housing types to accommodate all economic segments of the community. The city's third goal is intended to ensure that all types of housing can be built and that the city does not have policies or ordinances in place that constrain development. The fourth goal is to promote equal housing opportunities, and the final 5th goal is to identify adequate sites to achieve housing variety. So what drives the housing element update process is the regional housing needs assessment. The RENA begins up at the state where HCD allocates units to a regional association of governments, which for West Covina is the Southern California Association of Governments, or SCAG. SCAG is then responsible for allocating units to their member jurisdictions, and every jurisdiction is allocated their fair share of units and is responsible to plan for these units, not build. This allocation is crucial and is often the most difficult part of getting a housing element certified. However, for this planning period, West Covina actually has a significantly lower RENA allocation. The previous RENA allocation was 2,462 units, and this time it's 831. So as you can see, it's divided into 4 different income categories: very low, low, moderate, and above moderate. So as part of the housing element, a detailed sites inventory was prepared, and it's important that the city was not required to build these units, but rather to plan. The city identified sites within the Central Business District, which were previously rezoned in 2012 to the mixed-use overlay, and this is an overlay that allows 30 to 75 dwelling units per acre. And since the previous housing element, the sites inventory, none of the sites have been developed, and so this section has not been altered. These sites were included in the previous document that was approved by council and adopted by the state, and we did not make any changes. So as you can see, the city is more than able to accommodate their 2014 RENA, as the allocation is significantly lower. Based on the land available, the city can feasibly allow for the development of 1,564 units, which results in a surplus of 733 units. So this housing element has undergone a streamlined review by the State Department of Housing and Community Development, and the city has received their pre-certification letter, meaning that upon adoption tonight, it will be sent back up to the state, or assuming that it is adopted tonight, that it will be sent back up to the state for a final review and certification, and the city will have a certified housing element until 2021. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jess.
Before you proceed, can you please clarify that the 831 replaces the prior number?
Yes, so for the previous planning period from 2008 to 2014, the city was allocated the 2,462. Since the city did achieve a certified housing element, it completely starts over and a new allocation was allotted to the city, which is now 831. So they are not added together. The city only has to accommodate the 831.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Sarah. Now we're going to turn to the code amendment that goes with the housing element. The city adopted its low and moderate income and senior citizen housing in 1996. Since that time, the state law governing state density bonus law has been modified to encourage developers to build affordable housing by requiring local jurisdictions to offer meaningful incentives. Therefore, all jurisdictions must update their respective zoning ordinances in compliance with the most recent state law provisions. The draft ordinance that's before you tonight proposes to amend the current residential density bonus regulations as required by state law. A density bonus allows a property to accommodate additional residential units beyond the maximum allowed under zoning. The current standards require a mandatory density bonus of 25% for developments with affordable housing. The law was changed to create a range of density bonuses. The amount of density bonus is set on a sliding scale based upon the percentage of affordable units at each income level. The proposed changes to the code required by California state law include the following: allowing an applicant to obtain a very low and low income density bonus of between 20 and 35%, and a moderate income density bonus between 5 and 35%. The required density bonus increases as the percentage of affordable units increases. Secondly, requiring localities to offer 1 to 3 incentives rather than on the percentage of the targeted units. Incentives are required to result in identifiable, financially sufficient, and actual cost reductions. And incentives include things like reductions in parking, setbacks, and open space, and other types of development standards. 3, allowing a flat 20% density bonus for all senior housing rather than a 25% bonus for housing with 50% seniors as previously allowed. And lastly, limiting the amount of parking that jurisdictions can impose on developments receiving a density bonus. The proposed amendment would continue to require a conditional use permit to allow for density bonuses. The Planning Commission reviewed the housing element update and code amendment on August 27, 2013. The Commission voted 5-0 to recommend approval to the City Council, and staff is therefore recommending adoption of the housing element update and the proposed code amendment for affordable housing density bonuses. Lastly, following the adoption of the housing element update by the City Council, staff will forward the document to HCD, California State Department, for review and certification. That concludes our presentation. Happy to answer any questions at this point.
Thank you so much for the report. Is there any questions of staff? Seeing none, we don't have any speaker cards filled out, but if there's anyone that wishes to speak in favor, I don't have anyone at this time. And if there's anyone who speaks in opposition, I don't see anyone running to the microphone, so I will close the public testimony portion of the public hearing and ask for any council discussion. Councilmember Sykes?
Madam Mayor, since this is so long overdue, I motion that we move to approve this resolution as soon as possible.
Okay, Madam City Clerk, do you need 2 motions for the resolution and 1 for the ordinance?
So yes, we do.
Okay.
We need a motion
So that
first
is a motion for the resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries for the resolution 5-0. Now we
And
have a
secondly,
motion
we need
in
a
order.
motion to introduce the ordinance.
Right.
I so move.
I'll
I have a
second. Let me
motion
make
and
a
second.
comment here, because there's a lot of work that went into this housing element project. I want to thank our planning director, Jeff Anderson, and our consultant for all their hard work on this. The fact that there's no comments, I think, tells me that it's a good housing element and everybody supports it. So with that, you have my second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much. Our next item on the agenda is item number 9, which is another public hearing, which is the 2013 Congestion Management Program, which is the CMP. This matter set for public hearing consists of finding the city to be in conformance with the congestion management program and adopting the CMP local development report. City clerk, verify that the proper legal notice has been given.
Yes, that's verified.
Thank you. And at this time, I shall open our public hearing for the 2013 CMP and local development report. There will first be our staff presentation, and then we shall hear from those in favor and then those opposed. Mr. City Manager, who will present that staff report?
Mr. Anderson will present the staff report.
Thank you.
As was stated, as part of the congestion management program, the City of West Covina is required to annually submit statistics on development activity to the MTA. The reporting form is attached as attachment number 2 in the report, and it indicates the demolition and construction activity from June 2012 to May of 2013. In that time period, permits were issued for two new single-family homes, a Chase Bank at Eastland, LA Fitness on Garvey Avenue, which is currently under construction, and Center Lake Imaging Lab, which is at West Covina Parkway, just across the street from the Civic Center. Staff is recommending approval of the attached resolution.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Any questions of our staff from council? Seeing none, thank you so much for your report. And we have no speaker cards in favor? Seeing no one in favor, if there's anybody wishing to speak in opposition, I do not see anybody at this time, so I shall close our public testimony portion of the public hearing and ask for council discussion or motion is in order to adopt.
So moved.
I'll make the second on that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, and this is for the resolution. Madam City Clerk. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We need the vote first. Now, Madam City Clerk. Thank you.
Resolution 201367, a resolution of the City Council of the City of West Covina, California, finding the city to be in conformance with the congestion management program and adopting the CMP local development report in accordance with the California Government Code.
Okay, thank you so much. And we have a motion, and all in favor, say aye. I called that. I'm sleeping already. It's only 9 o'clock. What happened? So we'll move on, and Mayor, council member reports on our agenda. Did I call? I did.
Well, I think at this
ask
time
for
it'd
the
be
vote.
appropriate to revisit the request from Councilmember Sykes.
Yes, absolutely. Well, okay, I was going to go under requests for council member reports. So city council request for reports is you have the floor, sir.
As I stated earlier, I wanted the support so that we could recognize residents of West Covina that reach 100 years old. Our communities, we're judged by how we treat the most vulnerable. And tonight we recognized our young and the future in our children. And then that's at the sunrise. And then I'm just simply asking that we recognize and appreciate when our residents get to the sunset region of our lives. The centenarian program is just basic, and that we simply just create a program where we honor the centenarians. And for it to be on the agenda tonight, I need the support of the council so we can move forward. The staff is pretty much laid out the format. We just need to try to get it done, and this would expedite getting recognition for these centenarians. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Herbert.
I have no problem with that, but when I was mayor, I used to always get requests to recognize somebody turning 100 years old. I don't know if this is a different program or not, but the mayor always has the ability to do that, so, yeah.
The difference is that I just simply asked, do we have a formal recognition process for when someone reaches the age of 100? And they said no. And as far as their research came through, and that to me was significance in that not too many people get to 100 years old.
Does that mean that we research to find people that are 100 years old, or how does this work?
No, they can more, the staff can more clearly explain the website and so forth that would be set up. This is really just to facilitate and make people aware that not only can the city recognize a centenarian in their family, but that the state does it, and so does the President of the United States. And I know from firsthand because my grandmother reached to be 100, and she was recognized by the President, by President Obama.
I have no problem with it. I don't understand the urgency of it, but because like when I was mayor, I recognized probably 5 or 6 people that had turned 100. So, but I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer. So.
Can staff give us an update as to what we do now currently for? Is there no process for this?
Let me elaborate. First of all, there was a request, and there was a misunderstanding, I believe, between us, with which the question was, can we implement a program if we do not have it? And if it required council approval, could I then agendize it for that consideration? Staff has informed the council member that we have, in fact, implemented that program already. And let me back up to say that the mayor has that ability and does get requests to recognize birthdays. We implemented a program for the Centenarian program, which essentially provides a format. We already created a website. We got the forms already on the website that essentially indicate that all you need is fill out this form that provide the name and telephone number and contact information, and we can submit that for the mayor for signature. In addition to that, once we get that information, the community services would create a list in which they would also add onto the 90th plus birthday, in which those seniors and the centenarians would also get special recognition of being over 100 years old. So staff currently does have this program in place, and it's really council's purview if you want to act on it again or act on it, but it's really, you know, we did this administratively.
Any other comments?
At the time I talked to the city manager on September the 13th of this year, we did not have a centenarian program in order. Is that true or false?
We did not have one called the Centenarian Program, but as the mayor, or as the mayor, and I have discussions with the mayor, and as the mayor pro tem indicated, the mayor did have that authority and has received requests acknowledging birthdays, and we essentially elaborated on that current authority.
Madam Mayor, and if I may jump in, because we're going to have to add this to the agenda because it's not on the agenda, so we do need that 4/5 vote to be able to enter into this dialogue as we continue.
Well, why don't, I mean, I have no problem bringing it back if everybody wants to look at it, and maybe, you know, what, I mean, I know it's been a policy for a long time.
There's not been a formal,
there's not been a
formal policy to that effect. It's been, I think, informal from each mayor or the council.
But we have forms online for people, though, so it is already a written, I mean, people know about it or whatever. Maybe you just want to educate people more on it, maybe put it in the Discover. I don't have a problem, but like you said, we're getting, it's council's pleasure if you want to put it on the agenda, or if you want to bring it back at a later council meeting. Either way is fine with me.
For clarity's sake, so in the past we have provided some sort of recognition for people over the age of 90 or 100. Is that correct?
Yes, but you also recognized any request that came to the mayor's office to recognize any birthday.
And currently we have a system in place to recognize these people also even further, maybe more detailed since the discussion has started, but there is something.
Yes, staff administratively set up a program that we believe was under my authority and the mayor's authority to implement the Centenarian program, and a website has already been created and is up and running currently.
Are you happy, Fred, with what we have currently established, or is there something different that you would like?
Well, again, I want to remind the council, this is not on your agenda. If you either want to take action to put it on the agenda for further discussion tonight, that's going to require a 4/5 vote, or direct staff to bring back a report at your next meeting.
Madam Mayor, let me make a motion here that we bring it back to the next, since we have something in place, I think it's covered. So I'd like to be educated on a formal policy. So why don't we bring the policy back to the next meeting? So I'll make a motion to bring it back.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. With that, we are at our city council comments and or adjournments.
I have one adjournment, Madam Mayor. Longtime resident of the city, Lou Cronin, passed away about a week ago. She was an active member of the Senior Citizen Association and dear friend, and we will miss her. So if we could adjourn in her memory.
Okay. Any other adjournments? Okay, I have an adjournment as well. Tonight I'd like to, okay, I'm sorry, I hear people talking. Tonight I'd like to adjourn the meeting in memory of longtime West Covina resident Socorro Romero, who is the aunt of Nancy Ramos in our city manager's office. And our thoughts and prayers are with the Romero family. I know these times are difficult and hard, and just, you know, hopefully everybody can just appreciate the air they breathe and be respectful and kind to each other and enjoy the fact that we are here and miss people that we do love. So with that, motion is in order to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.